Within the past couple of years, headlines like these have plastered the front pages of news sources and research journals. But if the AI behind facial recognition systems is artificial computer software, how can they be racist? And if they are, why should we use similar AI implementations? First, it would be helpful to understand how this technology works. Machine learning is a type of artificial intelligence, or AI, which is a term used to describe any software that mimics the abilities of human intelligence. That is to say, visual and audio perception, pattern recognition, decision-making, really anything to do with the observation and analysis of the computer's environment. Machine learning in particular is a type of program that takes in data, makes assumptions about the connections between data points, and uses those assumptions to predict new data points. The program continuously creates and dismisses these assumptions with different data until it has created an algorithm to predict new data that is reasonably accurate. Let's take a closer look at each of these steps. In a facial recognition system using machine learning, the algorithm uses facial features to differentiate between people. In each round of learning, the algorithm will determine new identifying features. Initially, these are picked at random, but as time goes on, the algorithm builds on its existing knowledge to narrow down relevant features. In this picture of me, the algorithm might pick the shape of my nose and the color of my eyes as identifying features, again, just at random. My dad's nose shape and eye color are similar though, and it happens to classify both pictures as me. When we go through to validate the accuracy of the algorithm, it gets me right, but my dad is wrong. So the algorithm knows that it got somewhere, but it needs to change something. Now, this is a vast oversimplification, and in reality, this process is repeated with many more features on thousands of different samples. The problem of bias in machine learning occurs largely in the preparation of training data. The computer lacks the worldly knowledge and sense of logic that we humans have. If too much irrelevant information is provided as input, the algorithm can form relationships between completely unrelated factors. For example, let's say we have a model that predicts a person's credit score based on their financial practices. If we include yogurt flavor preference in our input, and there happens to be a random correlation between people who like strawberry yogurt and people who have good credit, the algorithm will likely develop a link between those two factors, when any human could tell that there's obviously no relationship between them. Determining how much input data to include is a balancing act. Too much, and you can develop issues like these, but too little, and the algorithm will struggle to identify meaningful relationships. This latter issue is called overfitting. If, for example, our facial recognition algorithm was trained on only my family's faces, it would have a hard time differentiating between other people that aren't in my family. This is the primary cause of the racist behaviors of facial recognition algorithms in those news articles. They were primarily trained on images of white people, particularly males. When applied to people of other ethnicities, the algorithm struggled to classify them as it didn't have the experience. So, is the public distrust of ML technology justified then? Not really. The fault for these issues lies not with the technology itself, but with the developers using it who failed to prepare proper training data. With better preparation, ML algorithms can perform complex tasks with more efficiency than their human counterparts. At present, ML applications are being researched and implemented in the early detection of cancer and other health issues, tailored online learning experiences, driverless vehicles, and more accurate recommendations on entertainment platforms like Netflix, as well as countless other implementations. Typically, AI works behind the scenes to improve existing systems in society. Unlike most technological innovations, a person has no interface to interact with the AI system that runs their products, unlike something like a keyboard for a computer, a web browser for the internet, or a touchscreen for a smartphone. It's more a question of how than what. This abstraction can cause unknowing consumers to perceive ML technology as sinister or having some sort of hidden purpose. To overcome the barrier to more extensive ML development and research, innovators in ML technology must improve communication on the topic and better educate the public on its applications and inner workings. An institution operating independently of public opinion and desire is bound for public disapproval. Close interaction between scientists, government officials, corporations, and consumers is necessary to establish a separation of inventor and invention and to create lines of communication for improving society for all.